Good evening, everybody. This is Boat coming at you from Central Florida tonight. I just wanted to say welcome, everybody, to Societal Deconstruction Podcast, SDP. And this is the last week of our Mental Health Awareness Month of May. So we did get to talk about a lot of mental health stuff. And we'll talk about a little bit more tonight. I wanted to welcome our guest, Bekah. She's with the Yooman Podcast. And Yooman stands for human, and she can tell you about that a little bit. Welcome, Bekah. So nice to have you on here.
Doing okay. Yeah, we got out of work and shut it down, and I'm excited to be on here.
Well, I'm glad that you didn't mind the late hour. I'm kind of a night owl, so my this is like the morning for me, kind of.
Yeah. No, it's good. This is better for me too. I'm not a night owl, but I don't mind doing it like this.
Yeah, so. And it's not like it's not like midnight.
No, we're good. I don't function after like 8:30. I'm horribly the opposite of a night person.
Oh, that's funny. I got you right at the end of your cycle.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny. I'm like the opposite because I'll I sleep whenever. I just don't have a really a normal sleeping schedule like most people. But I don't really come alive until 5 or 6 o'clock in the
Really?
evening.
Oh my gosh. Well, my husband is kind of that way. He is a lot more awake at night, so we kind of split shifts with our kids, whatever, so that I get to go to bed early because that works out. I know I go to bed sometimes before my 12-year-old will, because I'm just not not a night person.
And the kids are like, I think teenagers are just for some reason they just don't want to miss anything, so they always want to stay up.
Yeah. See, I stayed up really late when I was a kid, when I was a teen, and I got older and was like, no, I like the early bedtime.
My mom told me I didn't sleep until I was 3 years old, and I think that's why I'm still a night owl.
Yeah, it's stuck around, huh?
Yeah, I think that's why I'm an only child as well.
Oh,
she was afraid to have another one.
I can see that. I would feel the same, maybe.
So, you have 2 boys, right?
I do. Yeah, I have 2 boys. They're 12 and 9.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and we are just kicking off the ends of school, so we're starting summer soon, which I think we're all very ready for.
Yeah, it's nice to have a break from that schedule. Yeah. I remember mine are my son is 25 and my daughter's 18, so we're just kind of finishing up. Yeah. And it's a lot. It's a lot all week long. It can be pretty grueling, especially if you work. I mean, that's a lot. It's a lot to do.
Yeah, it is. It's quite a bit. We're all just barely making it to the finish line at this point, because just need a little break. Yeah.
Do you guys get to relax in the summer, or do you have a ton of like sports and stuff that you have to do?
No, we don't. I honestly, during the summer, I try not to give them a ton to do, because I know school is like so stressful now for kids.
Yeah, I was like that with mine too.
Yeah, so I try to just
break. We're just taking a break, people.
Yep, we just kind of shut down. I let them play video TV, because they put in a lot of work over the year, so I just try to completely slow down as much as possible. We still work during the summer, but me and my husband both work from home, so the boys just get to like stay at home, and we just work. Gets a little crazy towards the end of the summer, of course, and then ready for school again. But
it goes so fast.
Yeah. So yeah, we just try to like shut down as much as possible.
And you have to do that these days. I mean, everything is so go. It's like you don't have a second. I mean, nobody. I mean, you can't even. You have to return every text within, a 5-second rule or something. It's like you can't even take a minute to breathe, and it just seems like it's like that for days on end. And
it really feels like that.
The kids either. I mean, I think they need to take a break. I remember when mine were in school, just the amount of homework that they got, and
I know
if they did anything extracurricularly, it was just so much. I thought that they were just gonna, grind them into the, I don't know how the kids do it. It wasn't like that when I was a kid.
I know. I don't feel like it was even when I was, and yeah, they have to do so much. I mean, they're not even really into anything outside of school. Like, they're not into a lot of sports or anything. But even just with the school stuff, like, it's so much, and they have to do. My 12-year-old just started middle school, and his backpack literally is 20 pounds. 20 pounds, and this poor boy is having to carry around a 20-pound backpack all day. It's stupid.
It is. Middle school's the worst too. I remember mine. I don't know how they made it through middle school. And the school had 3 levels. They had to go up 3 levels of stairs with these damn backpacks. And I thought they were going to die of backfill. I thought they were going to have back surgery, both of them, before they got.
I know.
At least in high school, they get iPads. At least they do.
Oh
here.
yeah.
So he might have some relief when he gets to 9th grade.
I hope so. It is. I agree. Same thing.
It's crazy.
It's all. It's just so much. They will give you one, but like you said, they have 3 floors, and so you get 1 locker, but you have like 4 minutes to run to class.
20 miles
so
away
what's the
from
point?
You gotta go.
Yeah.
Yep,
so nobody has a locker because why? You're just wasting time.
They don't plan it very well.
No,
they really don't.
I don't put a lot of pressure on them to do super well in school, just because I don't place a lot of as much importance on like that sort of education, I guess. So I try to do what I can to just help them get through. They pass, they're doing good, they're trying their best. That's all I ask. If they skip homework because they're tired, then whatever.
You know what? I feel you. I was like that. when mine were that age too. It was. I felt so much pressure was put on them just to get. When my high school here starts at like 7:30 in the morning. I mean, we had to get up at. I mean, just the hours were just so ridiculous. I thought if they make it to school on time, we're doing good.
Yeah, I know. They're still so young. It's crazy.
I know. And I didn't put a ridiculous amount of pressure on mine. My daughter put a lot of pressure on herself, and she always got perfect grades. And unbelievably, she just graduated high school with her summa cum laude. She was 26th in her class, and she graduated with her AA degree as well because she dual enrolled.
Dang, well, there you go.
So That's
awesome.
I didn't need to put any pressure on her. She's one of those, I don't know where she came from, if they switched her isolate in the hospital or what, but she's going to go far. She plans to go to law school and everything. So she's all set. And my son always did pretty good too. He got a scholarship to college, and he did well too, but he wasn't as gung ho as her, but I always kind of thought if you can't do your homework one night, the world is not going to end.
That's what I tell him. I mean, of course I try and push them to do it, but there are some nights where they're just so burnt out that I'm like, whatever.
And there's other things more important, spending time with your family, sitting down and having a family dinner or something like that, which people hardly ever do anymore, and I think is kind of getting toxic.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I agree.
The world is becoming kind of a strange place, don't you think?
It really is. I don't know. I feel like we jumped timelines a few years back or something, and now we're in some weird
weird like realm or something where I don't know, and it seems like nobody seems happy. I'm retired now, and I'm doing this, and so I tend not to leave my house that much anymore. I find our town has grown like exponentially, and the traffic has gotten terrible. I don't like the traffic. I don't like driving, and it gives me anxiety. I really don't like shopping. It seems like everywhere you go, people are just miserable, and you try to, I'm still one of those people, I'll look you in the eye and smile at you, open the door for you. They don't even return your smile or hold the door, or they don't even say thank you. And you're just like, what in God's name? Are these people like cyborgs or what?
Yeah. Yep. I know. I feel the same when I see it. I don't know what's going on.
It's strange. It is definitely strange, but that's probably a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
What's happening with the world today? I should write that one down.
God. There's no telling. I don't know. I
don't know if it started with this. I think it started with this, with the smartphones, or maybe it started with the internet. I don't think it started with the internet, but I think the smartphones maybe have something to do with it. And
I could see that.
Yeah, everybody just stuck to their phone, and the kids these days are being almost raised by a screen instead of a parent, and it just, you can see I see my son's generation was probably the first generation that really had that internet total, because he's 25, so he just had that from the day he was born, and always I tried not to let him have it constantly, but you just kind of see that with the kids his age, that they're just kind of lost.
Yeah, no, and I know what you mean. I remember I was almost nearly 18 when I first got a phone, but it wasn't even a smartphone, so I'm not quite in that that generation, I guess. But
yeah, same. I was 25 when I got a cell phone.
Yeah,
and it wasn't a smartphone; it was a flip phone.
Yeah, I had that. My first was the Nokia, that blue Nokia little brick-looking phone.
The little chat where you could ding the people like a
yeah. I think so.
What are those things called?
Like a walkie-talkie thing.
Like walkie-talkie. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. My ex-husband had one, and they had a company with his family had a company, and all his siblings worked together and everything. And that thing was like chirp, 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 chirp all night long. It was like, oh my God, can you shut the thing off? That was the most annoying thing ever.
That was something.
Yeah, I was one of the lucky generations where when I was a teenager, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't even have pagers. So we weren't tracked. My parents couldn't track me, and I just ran the world.
I had no idea.
I felt so lucky to be in that because, kids these days couldn't even imagine.
I know. There's no recording of what, we did either. So
thank God.
Nice.
Yes. I don't know if I would have made it through that.
I know.
I would have been just no way.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish sometimes that we had more memories of, more of our stuff memorialized, I suppose, but probably good that it isn't.
Probably for the best. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was when I started getting up in my teen years, I mean, I would leave some weekends. I'd leave the house at Friday afternoon, and I'd come back Sunday night.
Yep. And they didn't even wonder. They just
no, they just knew, and
yeah.
I lived up north. I'm originally from New York State, so there'd be snow in the wintertime. Sorry, no, I can't. The weather's bad. We can't leave. We can't drive.
Yeah.
Where are you originally from?
Well, I was just gonna ask. I'm from I actually grew up outside Albany, New York.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, that's cool. What a small world. I'm from like an hour south of Buffalo.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's so funny.
And I've been to Albany twice when I was like 17, I think.
Yeah. It was like more, it was outside the city, but that's kind of was the closest, I think. It was like 30 minutes outside Albany. And
a lot of people don't realize what New York State is so much larger than New York City, and everything from New York City, and you're not. You don't even want to be affiliated with New York City, to be honest with you. Like, most people don't want to be affiliated with their politics. They wish they just be their own state,
That's exactly laughing, because every time people ask me where I'm from, I'm like, Albany, not the city. I'm not
New York.
I'm not from the city. It's very different.
Extremely.
That's so funny. Yep. I understand.
It's beautiful in the summer.
Yeah, I know. That's what I hated too. I could not stand the winters. I can't stand you're in Florida, so you probably don't ever get any snow. We get it.
No,
we
it
get
gets cold like 3 times a year.
Yeah.
Like, barely. And it never snows. I've lived here I've lived in Florida since 92. And it's never snowed, not once.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, not even a flake.
It's a great track record.
Yeah, I don't think it probably ever will. One year it almost did. It was the year my daughter, I think it was her 5th birthday. We went to Disney, and there was nobody there because it was so cold. It was like in the 20s. And I think it snowed in northern Florida that year. I'm in central Florida. Nice. And it did snow in northern Florida, and we almost froze to death. But once it finally got past like noon, we were able to survive. And we had almost had the park completely to ourselves. There was nobody there. We stayed till after the fireworks. We didn't have to wait in line for any rides or nothing. It was amazing.
Wow.
For her birthday. It was like Disney cleared out for her birthday.
That is amazing.
It was really cool. One of those times that you just happens and you'll never, you can never recreate it.
Yeah. God, that's awesome. I love this.
Yeah, it's really cool. When did you move south?
My immediate family moved down when I was 18. We live like in East Texas, like east of Dallas.
Okay.
And yeah, so I've been here now like almost 19 years, I guess. So about split my time now. Yeah, I like it. I like the weather better. The winters lately have been still getting pretty cold, and we get a lot of ice. We don't get a ton of snow. We mostly just get a bunch of ice. Which is
it bad driving?
It just, the whole place just shuts down. I mean, nice. We just everyone just shuts down for days. Like there's just crazy. No one even tries. Because we're just not set up to handle anything, even though it happens every few years, but yeah. But I mean, which I hate. I would almost rather just have snow than just ice. But
yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
It's like the bridges, you get that like black ice on the bridges, and
yeah. And it starts to get it starts to get on the power lines and starts bringing down trees, and I don't know, the infrastructure of Texas is not set up to handle
any
of that. Yeah.
That's interesting. I would have never thought that for Texas.
Yeah, I don't like that part. But otherwise, the summer and stuff is pretty nice. You don't get winters mostly are kind of mild, so I don't mind it.
Do you get really hot in the summer?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
do too.
get,
It's brutal.
yeah.
It's
I
like
don't,
96 degrees with 100% humidity. It's so hot.
yeah.
You walk
But
out of your house and you're sweating.
we get a lot of the humidity here too. And that's the part that I really hate. Because up north you don't have that. It's like it's 92, but it's like feels amazing.
Yeah. And here you walk out of your house and it's like a wall of humidity. You just want to turn
Yep.
right back to your air conditioning. Like, no.
Walking out to like a wet blanket, like a warm wet blanket. You can't breathe.
It's gross, honestly.
I hate it.
I still struggle with it. And I've been here.
I know.
92. Gosh, I've been here 30. I can't even count. 92, 31 years, I think.
Yeah.
Where did it go?
Yeah.
Oh my God. And I moved down when I was 18 as well. That's crazy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, my parents. I was in a real small town, and I was just. It was not my scene. There was no opportunity. People didn't really have any get up and go. They would just go on unemployment and welfare and stuff like that, and it was just not my jam. So instead of the colleges were at least an hour away from where I lived. It's sort of, I didn't have the system set up to where I could go stay at college. So, to go to college, I would have had to drive like over an hour every day each way. And I was like, this sucks. I'm out of here. And so I had an aunt that lived in Bekah down in South Florida. And I called her up one day and I said, I hate it up here. Can you rent me a room? She's like, sure, $60 a week. I'm like, all right. So I bought a ticket and packed a suitcase and went down and never looked back.
That's pretty awesome. That's awesome that you had someone there you could just kind of jump to and
I know
start,
I was really
start
lucky.
From fresh. Yeah.
And I think I came down with like less than $300.
Dang, that's awesome. What did you do when you first what did you start off doing?
Well, I didn't have a car because I sold my car to my best friend. I had hit a deer with my car right before I moved, so it was a mess. There was deer hair in the radiator. It was just a disaster. So I sold it to her for $100. So I got down there. It was like starting completely over. What did I do first? I just started looking for a job, and then I had to take the bus to work, which was bad because South Florida was even hotter. And I'm standing out there in my, my heels and my nylons and my dress clothes out on, Federal Highway waiting for the bus, which never came at the same time. I think that instilled in me more patience than I'd ever had in my life. And so I did that for about 6 months until I, was able to save up and buy a car and just, I just went one thing after another. It was just one experience after another. It was crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Instead of college, I did like the hard knock life.
Yeah. Yeah. That teaches you a lot.
It really does. It really does. Did you go to college?
I didn't. I didn't know. I had no idea what I wanted to do. And so I figured didn't see any point in wasting money on just like the basic, just regular something when I didn't an education, degree or whatever. It's like, I don't even know what I'm going to do with it. So no, I just started working. Just started working up until I had just random jobs until I had my kids. And then I stayed home with them for like 5-6 years. Just they were growing up, and then was able to start doing the software stuff. But yeah, and without a college degree or anything, which feels a little, you get like I don't have a degree. But honestly, a lot of the people that I work with either don't have a degree or like they have a degree in something that's completely different from what they do now, like a lot of education or like English majors, things like that decided
realize they couldn't make any money with what they went to school for.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was kind of the same way. I didn't know what I wanted to do either, and it was just I just wanted to get out of that town so bad. I would have went anywhere. I would have went anywhere. Somebody would have said, "Hey, come to China." I would have went. I would have.
Yeah. Just out. Just not there. Yeah. That's good.
Do you have a small town atmosphere where you grew up too?
Yeah, I did. We didn't know. My parents kind of kept to themselves.
Sorry. I'll edit this out.
No, you're fine.
I think someone's home. I have my two little doggies in here, and I bring them in here because they'll scratch at the door if I don't. But then if somebody gets home while they're in here with the door shut, then they'll bark. It's kind of a lose-lose situation.
I understand. I locked mine. I was afraid mine were going to start a minute ago because someone was bringing something to the door, but they managed to sneak by them. So
how many do you have?
I have two dogs as well. So
yep. Oh, they're so sweet.
I don't know what I was saying. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah, we're talking about the
forgot what I was
college
saying.
thing. But you know what? I was
Oh,
thinking,
yeah.
I'd almost, well, my daughter's going to go to law school. I'm not going to say don't do that. But these days, I would say, don't spend the money on college. Freaking invest in YouTube, man. Like you said,
Yeah.
you learn anything on YouTube these days.
Yeah, you really can.
It's incredible.
There's a lot of people that are moving away from just assuming they have to go to college, and because you're realizing there's a lot more options of things you can do and learn, and you don't have to just go get a degree for, no reason or anything. I mean, obviously there's still degrees for, like you said, your daughter going to law school, you have to do that, or doctor, things
Exactly.
that require a degree. But if you don't know specifically what you're going to do,
it's pointless.
I mean,
It's a waste, such a waste. And it's like they used to just put everybody in a little box.
Right.
They love to put everybody in a little box and make everybody think they got to do. See, that's what my societal deconstruction is about too. Is I don't like to live like the rest of society. I mean, I don't live crazy weird or anything, but I just don't like being told what to do, and I don't like to do what everybody else is doing all the time. I think you get in a rut, and they like to place you in a box and tell you exactly what to do. Like, go through school, go to college, get a job, get married, buy a house, be stuck with a house around your neck for 30 years. And then what? Then you're like, what the hell did I just do? And my life is gone.
I know. That's the scariest thing to me ever, to think about accidentally falling into that sort of routine or rut. That's just so scary.
Exactly. So you don't live like that either.
I try not to. No, I mean, I even just with how I ended up and kind of where I am, feels like I already kind of bypassed a lot of that, because I was like, no, I'm not just going to go to college to get debt for no reason. But I mean, even that. Like trying to learn this, and so I'm already teaching my kids, and any kid that I talk to, if they're doubting college, I'm like, you don't have to go. Just hear from me. Like, not just me. Like I said, there's a lot of people I work with that didn't go to college or just taught this to themselves and jumped from somewhere else. And, and so my kids, obviously, if they want to go to college for something, I'll help them. But I've told them, like, that's completely optional. You don't have to. You can go.
Right. And we don't have $500,000 set in a college fund for you either.
Well, that
so
too.
You might want to think other alternatives.
Yeah,
there are more out there.
It's like, we'll help you figure it out. Right. Not saying we don't have it. Yeah.
That was like.
Yeah. And also, if you don't want to go, then that'd be nice, because then I don't have to pull $1 million out of somewhere.
Exactly. Like, I didn't ever start the college fund when they were born or any of that crap. I'm like, I don't know what the heck's going to happen in 18 years. I'm not going to put my money there. I don't have any money to put there.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's a struggle when they're young. It was always, I never had a lot of extra to do stuff like that. And luckily, I ended up getting a really good job probably about, 23 years ago or something like that, and just working in a sales office, and moved my way all the way up, and I worked there for 16 years and ended up making great money with no college degree. And I always said, if I would have went back to college, and I did at one point, I got about half of my associate's degree. And that was a struggle. I don't know how people do it. And when I was going to go back, and I said, you know what, if I went back, I would never make close to what I'm making. So, and then I finally put that on the shelf. I said, I'm not even going to entertain that idea or stress myself out. I'm never going back. No worries. And so, you can just climb. I mean, I started out making $8 an hour answering the phones. And when I left there, I was making well over $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
So that just goes to show what you can do without a college. You don't have to have a college degree. You don't have to go by what society tells you to go by. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And I love that we're both great examples of that.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what I was doing. Just your most basic random jobs, never assuming I'd have a career or anything. I was like, I don't know, I guess I'll just do this shit forever. And
office
I don't know.
Making crap money, and restaurant jobs, bartending, and serving. It was horrible.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
I actually went back to it after I left the office. I went back to bartending for a couple of years because I had always enjoyed it when I was younger. I like the bartending.
Yeah.
And I did it for a couple of years, a few years back. And that's enough, it was fun for a couple of years, and it was so weird getting back into the whole nightlife. I had no idea people did stuff after midnight.
Yeah.
People are really doing all this shit. Wow. I was just blown away.
That's funny.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm definitely done with that. So
yeah, I can imagine.
Oh my goodness. Oh, let's see. Do you want to take a little quick break and we'll come back?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. Let's say like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Come back
that's
at like.
perfect.
Okay, sounds great.
Hey,
Hey, welcome back.
thank you.
Quick little break.
Yeah, good.
Well, talking to you's been fun.
Yeah, I've had a blast. This is good.
It goes right along. I love this podcasting. I sometimes I get on it. I get a little off track. And I just go down. I don't know. I just love talking to people. You're great to
Yeah,
talk to.
I do too. I think it's fun. I'm actually, I would consider myself introverted. Just because I don't love like talking to groups or necessarily going out, but this whole thing where I've been like meeting, strangers and talking online, it's so fun to me to talk to strangers and get to know people. I love it.
Me too. I mean, it's so weird to say that because I can honestly say that I like when I go out of my house, I don't really like people, but
Yeah,
I like this
me either.
internet thing, and I never did this up until I would say, the last year or maybe.
Yeah.
I started on Reddit, and I made a couple little Reddit groups and stuff, and it
Mm.
started getting into like the chats and stuff, and and never this has been available for what 20, 30 years,
Yeah.
and
I think so.
I've really never done it, and it's so fun. And then I getting into the podcast thing sort of just branched off of that, and I love it.
Yeah, I do too. To me, it feels like I remember being a teenager and getting our first computer and getting onto like the AOL chat rooms.
Yeah.
I had so much fun just going in and talking to strangers for hours and making like internet friends. And I think it just feels like that for me. It like brings me back to that because I liked that.
My
Just
friend and
feeling
I were
like your
talking.
world opened.
Yeah. My friend and I were talking the other night about it, and it's like you almost, because you get to know them. Like if you're going out to a bar with people, people are drinking. They can be kind of fake, and they're like, "Oh, such good friends," blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then the next day it's all bullshit.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just don't enjoy that anymore. And I don't drink anymore, and I just don't like that scene. And it seems like when you get to know people online, like my boyfriend kind of he kind of makes fun of me a little bit. Oh, they're not real friends; they're just online, and it's
Yeah.
almost like they're better friends because you get to know them on a deeper level because of the stuff you talk about and stuff, and you're not just out
Hmm.
there drinking and acting like a certain way. I don't know. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I don't know why necessarily, but it's easier to be more like vulnerable and honest with people that you don't know in real life, I guess.
I think so
And
too.
so, yeah, it's easier to just like you don't feel like you have to do I don't know, like all the masking that we might do with people who know you or who know people who know you, and you can just be like super open. Like, I don't know, I don't really know them. Like, I know them, but I'm not going to run into them. So maybe it loses that sort of like, feels embarrassed, I guess. I think that's what it is for me.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel like I've been able to really talk to people like on a deeper level. Like I've had some
Yeah.
really deep conversations with some people, and it's weird. And like you get off the conversation sometimes, and you're like, holy shit! Like
Yeah.
like wow, you feel like you've been through a
Yeah.
I don't know what, but yeah, I really enjoy it too. It's really cool. How long have you
Yeah.
been podcasting now?
I just started. I'm pretty brand new. It's only been I have like a month maybe more. Not much more.
Oh, that's
I
great. I started mine at the end of February, so I'm right there
Oh
with you.
yeah. Yep. It's new.
Oh, and Bekah comes from the Yooman Podcast,
Mhm.
and we're in Yooman. Is that a name?
No, it's actually just like a little funny story. When I was a teenager, there was someone who was trying to tell me about this thing called a human video. That was like a youth group that we did. But she just is one of those persons that says their like H's as like a Y, and so she was calling it a human video. And I was just like
That's funny
sitting
because when
there.
I tried to type to text your email, it came out human.
It's like I don't know. I think it's a fairly common for people to say it like that, but I had never heard it. And I was like a teenager, I was awkward, and I was just sitting there staring at this like a grown up, and I was like, I don't know how to tell her that I don't know what she's saying. And I was like, I don't understand. And she was like, human, human, human. I was like, I don't know what that word is. um, and I don't know, I guess, yeah, it always just kind of stuck with me as like one of the most awkward human interactions I've ever had. So That was where I got it from.
Oh, that's so funny. And your podcast is about basically just talking to humans.
Yeah.
Humans.
Yeah. Just kind
And
of getting like a little slice of like everybody and just kind of getting to know people because I think they're just really interesting and I love connecting with people and hearing what they're passionate about or what they think about,
and everybody's so different. I mean, every episode should
Yeah.
be completely different
Yeah. Yeah.
because we are a strange little species
We are.
of people. I was talking to I have my societal deconstruction chat on Snap, and I was talking to some people on it the other day, and I was just like, I don't know where the conversation was, but I'm like, we're all just equal. We're all just beings of this planet. We're all just creatures and animals of this earth.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm kind of out there. I'm like, whatever. Because we are. Aren't we just animals? I don't consider myself above my dogs, really.
No.
I think they're better than.
I was gonna say
we
they probably are.
I agree.
Yeah.
And they would like, well, we are not animals. We are intelligent creatures, and no creatures come close to the intelligence that we have. And they were like, and they weren't being jerks about it or anything, but I was just like, it's just like funny. But I'm like, I still think we're creatures, but we are more intelligent. But I don't know if we are like the whales and stuff might be more intelligent.
Yeah, I don't know. Plus, there's a lot of animals that have a lot more like compassion and empathy for their fellow kind as well. So I don't know if that makes us more intelligent.
And they don't ruin the planet like we do. I mean, they somehow have figured out how to be the way they are. It's like because they've been here longer. That they figured out a way to integrate into the land and everything without ruining the whole planet. We come along and just blow the planet up, and now we're all screwed.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what intelligence we have, but I don't know if it's the right kind.
Yeah, I don't either. And that's a whole nother one too.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So, you like to talk about mental health. I have that written down here because my podcast, this one here, has melded into quite a bit of mental health talk.
Yeah.
Most of my guests have had, issues, and I've had my own issues, and I've really liked talking about it. And I think with anyone out there struggling with it, I just hope to help somebody, and let them know that they're not alone out there, and we all go through all this crap. And I've honestly been thinking that maybe the mentally ill aren't mentally ill. They're just different. Society likes to put everybody in such a box and say, okay, because you're not just like all these other boring people, there's something wrong with you. Yeah. And make you feel like crap. Like my other friend, I have bipolar, so I'm, manic and manic depressive. And I'm mostly manic. I'm not really very depressive. I haven't been for a couple of years. And my one friend who's bipolar as well says, it's a gift. We have a gift. Yeah. You have to look at it that way. And, I get a lot done when I'm manic.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
So maybe, I'm trying to look at it that way instead. And, what this guy was talking to the other day, his a family member actually had a lobotomy for being bipolar.
Oh God.
The way they actually cut out a part of your brain, I believe, is what a lobotomy is. And could you imagine? That's why people didn't say they had mental problems back in the day. They would take you in the hospital and cut part of your head out.
Yeah, I mean, you had to keep it. You could lose things, lose your family, just get locked away.
Yeah,
take your brain out, or those electric shock therapy. They used to do that too, didn't they?
And you watch a movie like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, or a movie like that, where you're literally, you're not locked away with, Nurse Ratched and stuff. I mean, that would have been terrifying.
I know. Yeah, I know. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I've tried I wasn't always this way. I've definitely tried to keep it hidden, but more recently I've tried to just be a lot more open about it and just be like honest. Like I not try and hide things, but it obviously was hard to feel like I was coming out with that. But I know now that like that's what I would have wanted to hear, and that's what always helped me when I was in it, was just hearing people admit it and be like, hey, it's okay. Like, yeah, maybe I look like I'm super functioning, but you don't know what got me here. Like,
or what goes on in my head every day, or what I have to fight to get here. I was just diagnosed like 2 years ago. Oh. So I don't even know, I had this in my brain my whole life and just knew that it was a struggle, but I didn't know what the struggle was. And, my mom always thought I was, kind of crazy. And, because my brain didn't operate like hers, she's always been, pretty easygoing and nothing, just didn't have all the stress. And, it's hard when you're going up and down a million miles a minute, and going through all these moods every single day. It's just hard to even explain, but being
Right.
able to talk about it is wonderful. And being diagnosed with something is great. And I take a little medicine called Abilify,
Mm.
which is for the
Okay.
bipolar, and it's, oh my god, it's like been life changing for me. I'm like, it's been unbelievable.
Yeah. I just got on Lexapro for I guess that's for depression, but like 2 years ago, I think too. Which I was on it when I was younger. I was on something different, but anyway, this is the first time I've gotten back on medication as an adult, and man, I am just I always felt so bad about it because I thought it was like, I don't know, that I shouldn't be on medication, that I
Well,
shouldn't
yeah,
need
you
it.
think big pharma, it's all kind of a scam, and
Yeah,
I didn't want to go on it either. I wasn't what I was looking to do either.
yeah. But yeah, it's been life changing for me as well.
Oh,
It
that's
was
wonderful.
immediate. I'm very glad because I know it can be hard to find some medication that like works.
It really
But
is.
yeah, it worked really well.
They always tried to put me on antidepressants like the SSRIs,
Yeah, yeah,
and I
yeah.
tried like 4 or 5 versions of those. After my dad passed away, I was in my early 30s, and I went on Prozac, and all I did
Mm,
was gain 50 pounds and just not care about anything. And it
yeah,
got me through that period, and then I didn't take anything for a long, long time. And a couple of years ago, I was pretty depressed and just gone through a bunch of crap, and was just like down. And so I went back to the doctor and said, I need something. And that's the first thing they tried to do. And I said, I don't like those. I don't like the side
right.
effects. I don't feel human. I feel like a robot. I have a metallic taste in my mouth. I can't talk to people. Like, I
Mm,
don't like the side effects. And I said, you must have something else. There must be something else you can try. I had to like talk them into it. It's so weird.
yeah.
And they put me on buspirone and lamotrigine first. And that's the buspirone is, I think, an anti-anxiety, and the
Mm.
lamotrigine is an anti-seizure or an
Oh, yeah.
antipsychotic, maybe.
Okay, I've heard of that. Yeah.
And that combination helped me a bit. Like, I wasn't able to eat. I'd gotten real thin. I wasn't able to eat, and the buspirone, I think, took away that stomach anxiety where I was able to eat again. So I started
Mm.
feeling better with that. And then the the lamotrigine, just I guess, I don't know. I think that those two, the combination of those two, I think brought me a little bit out of my depression. And then they
That's good.
finally, I said this, I don't think this is, I took them for maybe like a year, and I said, I don't know if these are really doing anything anymore. Can we try something else? And they put me on the Abilify, and that is, it's an anti seizure, and I think it's antipsychotic, but it's specifically for bipolar. And
Interesting.
I only take a small dose. Like, they prescribe me 10 milligrams, and I take 5. So I
Mm.
only take a little bit. And instead of being like, on the up and down roller coaster, how you feel, I'm just feel like I'm a flat line. Like, I'm
Yeah.
chill. I don't get so freaked out about things, and I don't just do that the up and down. I just feel so much happier and positive,
Yeah.
and it's amazing.
It is. It's so weird to feel like, I don't know. I know with me, I was like scared to take medicine at when I was older because I was like, well, what if, I don't know, like what if it changes me? What if I'm not like me? What if, I don't know, like, how am I? I'm gonna feel weird.
You're worried it's
And
going to change
then
your brain chemistry. Maybe you never come back the same
yeah,
person or something. It is
yeah,
frightening.
yeah. And you're like, I feel like I'm like that's who I am, like is with this thing. So, am I not gonna be me? But when I found something that worked, obviously with that caveat, I guess, um, it was wild how much more I felt like myself. I was like, oh, like this is me. I just am not like super sad, and it's
Same.
me, but brought up. And I was like, oh, this is not bad at all.
Yeah, I feel like
So
I've been like the best version of myself
yeah,
the last couple of years.
yeah,
And just I always would get into something that I don't know if it's bipolar or depression or what, but you have the negative spiral
yeah,
where, like, I would wake up in the morning and I would think of one negative thing, and then it would be a negative, a negative, negative, until I
yeah,
felt like I was going down like a whirlpool of negativity until I got to the bottom, and I just wanted to sit in the corner and cry
yeah.
that
I
everything
know.
was wrong, and I could never fix anything, and it was so overwhelming. Like, and every day my brain would do that to me.
Yeah, it's. I don't know if for people that don't know what that feels like, it is pretty terrifying to feel like your brain is trying to like destroy you or
It's horrible.
attack you. It's
And at the time,
terrifying.
you don't even know what's happening.
Yeah,
You just are crying. You're so upset. You feel like life is so overwhelming, and
yeah,
you just can't overcome it. It might be some stupid thing, but with that thing and then the other thing, and it could be 19 stupid things added up together that create such an overwhelming hurdle that you have to try to get over.
Right.
And certain brains just aren't built to just immediately figure all that out and say, oh, we have to do this, we have to do this. No, I mean, some people are like, holy shit, Jesus Christ, what am I like? And it's okay to feel that way. And for everyone out there that goes through that, there is a way out if you can find the right. I think it's just the chemistry in our brains that's screwed up.
Yeah, it is. It's just like a imbalance, like it's just an imbalance in stuff the same way, I don't know, other people have other things in balance. Like it's not a bad thing that it's in our brain waves, but it's just different.
And I have so many like people in my family in the past, especially, that I believe had the same bipolar that I do and were never diagnosed. And most of them self-medicated with alcohol. And alcohol is not a good way to self-medicate because it's just, there's so many other things that can happen from it. Like you might feel good at first, but I mean, driving, the driving drunk, you can, you can kill people, you can, not remembering things and things, you can do while you're on the alcohol. And I mean, it just can make your life a shit show. And people in my past had so many problems from it. And I feel so bad for them. If they could have just, tried what I'm taking, it could have changed their lives,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely used alcohol as a way to get through a lot of it before the last couple of years, or probably even not that long ago, but just using it because it would, even though it would usually make me more depressed later in the moment.
It numbs it for the moment.
Right. The moment, like your muscles relax and you're happy and, so it works for the moment, but obviously once the next day you feel awful and then you're like, well, I guess I'll just have to drink again.
Yeah. It's a bad cycle. And I did it for years. I just actually quit last April, I think it was. And I didn't even quit. Like I didn't say I'm going to quit drinking. I just like stopped.
Yeah.
I just got tired of all of it. And, and I wasn't drinking a lot, but I was, just a couple times a week or whatever. And I just stopped. And now I don't think I'll ever have another sip of alcohol as long as I live.
It gets old, it gets like, it's just not worth it. I mean, it's not worth it just feeling awful, like mentally and physically. I pretty rarely drink anymore. One, because it messes up like the medication that I'm on. So it like won't work as well, obviously. And then it just makes me feel terrible later. So
yeah. And I told my doctor that I had stopped and she goes, well, you just finally got your bipolar under control. You don't need to self-medicate anymore.
Yeah.
And I said, wow, that was like a light bulb that went off.
Yeah.
In my head. I never even thought that. And I was like, damn, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
And the thought of it, sounds terrible. I would probably gag if I took a swallow of it. I'm so my father would be proud.
Yeah.
My dad was an alcoholic and he was in AA for many years. He quit when I was like 14, but he would always shake his head like, oh, you're gonna be just like me. And I could never take his advice, but no, he would be proud now.
You have to live and learn.
You really do. I was never a person that could learn by example of anything. I had to go through all of it myself. I had to touch the stove like 14 times to realize it was hot.
Yep. I get that.
Well, at least I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
Let's see. So you had an interesting childhood, correct?
Yeah. I did. Man. So like, speaking of, I guess, mental health, my mom, I don't actually, she's never been like officially diagnosed. So I don't really know, like what, and I don't want to like assume too much, but I've done a lot of my own research and learning. And I think that she has something along the lines of like borderline personality disorder or something along those lines. It's not, she's not just bipolar. It's a lot more than just sort of, ups and downs type thing.
Right.
But she doesn't like going to the doctor and doesn't like to discuss any of these things. So she's never really been officially diagnosed. But yeah, she's been that way for as long as I can remember. And when I was 8 years old, she had, I had two younger siblings that were like a couple years younger than me. And then I was 8 and she had my youngest brother, which was like a surprise. She thought she was done and
Oh, wow.
he was surprised.
That's got to be traumatic. And
It was, I think. Yeah. I think it really was for her because I know she would tell everyone like she sold all the baby stuff, said she was done, and then he, popped up. But that
changes your whole life. I mean, that's such your whole life
does.
Back to where you were like, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And
yeah,
that people don't realize it's huge.
Right. And for him to be 8 years younger than, her oldest is, I mean, that's a pretty big jump as well. So yeah, so that really, that did a number on her. And I can imagine how it probably would feel now that I'm a mom as well. I can kind of imagine what that would feel like. And I agreed that
and
would
people think that motherhood is just sunshine and roses, and you're supposed to, it's just also wonderful, and everybody's supposed to be so goddamn happy all the time. And it is hard.
It is.
It is hard. And if anyone out there that, you feel guilty for saying it's hard.
It is. Yeah. And I think she probably struggled a lot with even us a little bit. Cause I think she had always had like depression before as well. Cause she had a pretty just shitty childhood as well on her part.
And then the postpartum and all that stuff wasn't even diagnosed back
no.
then, barely.
No. So yeah, when we were 8, she had him and we moved when he was like 6 months old. And I don't know exactly how it happened because my memory doesn't work up until like a certain point because I've like blocked stuff from my childhood. So parts of it, like little chunks of it, are missing, and I don't want to like dig them out. And they're fine where they are.
Yeah, I think I have some of that as well.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, I just remember specifically, I know we moved to a new house and he was 6 months old. So I was 8.5. And she sort of went into like this really bad, depressive episode, and she just didn't get out of her bed for like the next 6 months or so.
Oh my God.
And so my dad had to keep working. So he, cause he had to provide for us cause she wouldn't get out of bed.
Well, yeah. Free.
Right. So he just had to keep working. And so I was 8.5, and then they would have been 6'5", and then a 6-month-old. And I basically just started taking care of them. We didn't go to school a lot growing up. We were in and out of schools, but homeschooled a lot. And I think that was unfortunately just like hide what she was going through. But
yeah, she didn't have to worry about getting you there on time.
Yeah.
And, stuff like that when she was having troubles.
Yeah. And I think she had a lot of anxiety being home alone as well. So she didn't like us like leaving or going anywhere.
And anxiety is a
Yep, it is.
People don't even give that enough credit. I mean, you can have such anxiety that it's like your chest is crushing. It's like,
yeah, absolutely.
It's so hard to explain that you almost, can't even leave your house.
Yeah, no, I get it. I've had that as well, so I know what she was feeling. But yeah, so that was just, I would take care of them. I have little like vivid memories of like having to like change his diaper and take care of him. I think she still breastfed him. So I would bring him in like to feed and sleep and then just come get him when he was done.
Wow. And were you cooking dinner for the other siblings and stuff like that?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember I made breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Wow.
My dad came home on time. He was working really late, I think. But if he came home on time, he would make dinner. But otherwise, I remember having to like stand on a stool to reach the stove because it was too tall for me.
Jeez, that's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah. But I mean, we had the house and we had a solid house to live in. And I remember we always at least had food. So I don't remember. I mean, not like great food, obviously, like poor food. That's fine.
Right.
But we were fed, and so, but it was a lot, to be so young. So I just always kind of struggle with that. I would just kind of struggle with feeling like, I don't know. Yeah. Like that part was just kind of taken away, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. How many years did that go on after until you?
She got out of bed eventually. But I do remember like it was around so we moved in the summer and then it was around like Christmas when she finally started getting out of bed. But it was like after that, for the rest of growing up, she would just get out of bed and, sometimes be able to like get up and do stuff. But it really depended on like she would have maybe like 1 week of like a super manic episode, and we'd be like cleaning the house, and she'd be like getting involved in our homeschooling and setting stuff up.
You'd be like, wow, my mom's back.
Yeah. And then the next week it'd be like, and then it'd be like another 3 to 5 weeks of like super depressive, where she would probably just sleep for maybe a few days at a time, then get up,
Wow.
and so it would just go back to that. So it was a lot of that. So it depended on a lot of like our life depended on what her mood was like and how much she could handle.
Wow.
Um,
That just, I get goosebumps on my arms listening to that, because mine's completely different. But I've been realizing this lately, that like as a child, my life depended a lot on how much my dad drank.
Yeah.
And your days would go by, like yours would go based on your mom and her, her, however her depression was going. And, mine would go based on, how much my dad drank. And I think that's why I've determined that I think that's why I have OCD, because I couldn't control anything as a child. And now, God damn it, I'm going to control everything.
Yeah, I can see that.
Do you have that as well?
I am very like, I know that one thing that I carry from it is I'm very like overly attuned to other people, and like I'm always reading the room and reading people, and
very empathetic.
Just like, yeah, and it comes across as empathetic. I mean, it is, but it's like it's exhausting to a point where I'm like, I think that's why I get so drained at like social functions, because I'm paying attention to every single person there, and like, are they mad? Are they irritated? What's the temperature of everyone in the room? Because you always have to know. I just always had to know how the adults were feeling and what mood are they at, because I have to make sure I act, in accordance. Yeah, exactly.
That does seem exhausting.
Yeah.
I don't like having to worry about other people's moods, and like the older I get, I just want to be left alone, and I just want to be me, and I just want to be at peace. I just want peace. Like I'm in a relationship right now. We've been together for like 7 years, and he's just I have to worry about his mood all the time. And I'm like, can't you just live? Can't I just live? Like, I don't want to do this dumb shit. Just be. Let's just be. Just be. Do what you want, and everything's fine. Like, why does it have to be this up and down and back and forth? It's exhausting, and just mentally exhausting.
Yeah. No, I understand. I don't want to feel like I'm always doing that, but I think it's just a habit. But I do try, and like as I'm getting older, I'm trying to stop myself. I'm like, hey, you don't have to worry about everyone else's emotions.
You don't.
It's fine.
No, you don't. And you know what? You get one life, and it's so precious. It's like we waste so much of it worrying about so much crap that we don't have to worry about, that doesn't mean anything, that doesn't change anything. And the older I got, I just realized that we waste so much of our lives.
Yeah, we really do. Just worrying about other stuff that doesn't matter.
I know. It's crazy. Like, I did I just put it out, my episode, my suicide episode. It was
I was listening to that. That was good.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it was just my cousin that killed herself last week or the week before. And I mean, she had all this stuff. I think she was probably bipolar like me, because she was on my dad's side of the family. And I think that's where that comes from, is my dad's side of the family. And she was just so distraught, and her anxiety was so bad, she couldn't make a decision. And she had all this stuff. She was a successful chef. She had a restaurant. She owned a house. She had an RV. She had dogs, horses. She had a couple of cars. I mean, she was extremely successful in that aspect. But none of that helped her. None of that made her feel any better. And she just got to the point where her anxiety was so bad, she couldn't even make a decision about her business. Like, and her employees were getting upset with her. And, they would talk to her sister, my other cousin, and we were going to go out there. My other cousin wanted me to go out there because she lived in Utah. And she wanted me to go out there and see if we could help her, like at the beginning of this year. But then we were like, what are we going to do? Oh, and she was drinking herself to death.
Yeah.
And like, it's like, what are you going to do? And my cousin was out there for 5 weeks in January with her, trying to help her. And, and she has a family back here and stuff. So 5 weeks is a long time. And then, I don't even have words. It's like,
the
anxiety. I think it was the anxiety that killed her, that got her, that made her do that.
That is so heartbreaking, man.
It's awful.
So sad.
It's terrible. And she was only 56, and she was a young 56 too. She was only a couple of years older than me, and she had all this life left in front of her, and she could have done she could have made so many other decisions. And the fact that she was that distraught that day and made that final, I can't even wrap my brain around it.
Yeah.
And so many people are killing themselves. It's become really prevalent.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there's so much expectation, there's so much weight that everyone carries, and you're just supposed to, just suck it up and do it. And it's like, this is hard. It's hard just being alive,
Mhm.
like living
And people would rather
is
literally
difficult.
blow their head off, or slit their wrists, or hang themselves than do it another goddamn day. That's how bad it is for some people.
I know.
My son struggled with it too, and he said he just can't. What society expects from people is just such bullshit that he should have been born in a different time. He just hates it. He's just miserable. I wish I could help him, but I don't even know how.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's hard because some of the stuff they say, you're like, yeah, that's a fair point, but I don't know. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to just kind of find I don't know, like something like you can't say like, what am I living for? Because it's hard when you feel like you're just on like that rut that you talked about earlier, where
The
you're
hamster
doing this,
wheel.
doing this, doing this, and you're like, is that it? Is that
Right.
what am I not leaving for? And it can be hard to be like, what am I staying here to live just so I can do the same damn thing every day? Like,
Yeah, and it's like the money, like it all revolves around money too, because
yeah,
you have to work so hard to just even survive in this world, because everything's so expensive
right.
that you're just living to work, and there's no pleasure in anything. And my life has turned around a lot since I stopped working. I mean, I was lucky enough that I'm able to. I got in a car accident a couple of years ago and got a little settlement, which is almost gone. So I don't know how long I'll be able to do this. But, I mean, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
My boyfriend works. He started a company. He started a cleaning, pressure washing, handyman type company, and he's doing pretty good with that. But that's a lot too. And I'm staying home and doing the writing and the podcasting and stuff. And since I've been home, I've been able to think about things, and my life has just changed so much. If everybody could just even have a year where they could just not have to work so goddamn hard and think about themselves and what they want in life, it's incredible.
Yeah.
It could change. I could think it could change everything for somebody. Like if they had a year to just, maybe watch YouTube and figure out what they might like to do, and they could do something from home, or I tell a lot of these kids now, it's like, if you're good on a computer, you know what you could do? You could do website development. That's not that hard. You can do SEO. Tell me that you couldn't learn that off YouTube.
Yeah, no, you definitely could.
Like $100,000 a year doing that stuff.
Yeah, but the problem is, I mean, you have to
motivation.
Exactly. You have to but you also have to while you're learning stuff, you're also still struggling to stay afloat. So
exactly. It's like a double-edged sword. It's so hard to, and it's easy to tell them, oh, you can do this, you can do that. And I don't ever mean to come across like that, but
right.
There's so many opportunities that instead of just going and working for somebody else, you're going to eventually be a lot happier working for yourself, at least, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you work for a company, or you work for yourself?
I work for a company, but it's fairly small. So I feel, and I've been there a while now, so I do have a lot of I feel like I have a lot of freedom just because I've kind of earned my time there.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I have a lot more sort of freedom, and say I feel like I have a say in what I'm kind of doing on a day-to-day basis. And
that's nice.
I work.
You're not bound by that 9 to 5 clock where you sit there, punch in. You have your projects you have to do, and you complete them kind of as you can, and then you can do other things in your life as well.
Yeah, and I feel really lucky that we got into this. I think I mentioned, but I work from home as well, so it's just I just have the comfort and flexibility working from home. But I mean, I feel lucky that I got it though. I mean, I learned stuff, but I just feel lucky that I was able to, because I know a lot of people don't get that chance.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
I know a couple of years ago when I had gone back to the bartending, and I was kind of over that too. I'd gotten a job for CVS working for their at-home pharmaceutical department.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
was thrilled that it was an at-home job. And so it was my first time ever having an at-home job. And so I got, I went down to Orlando and got all hooked up. I had 2 computers and, the whole thing. And then it was a 6-week training class because it's, the pharmaceutical stuff is hard and you got to learn all this stuff about insurance. And it was a lot. And so I made it through all the training. And it was like you literally had to punch in at like 8:30 in the morning. And then you got like a 5-minute break twice a day and 1 30-minute break for lunch. And then you were there for 8 hours. And if you weren't plugged into that phone, I mean, if you stepped away from that phone for 2 seconds to go pee, you get fired.
Oh my gosh.
It was terrible. And so
Yeah.
I did the 6-week training. And then my first day on my own without training, I did really well in the training. They thought I was going to be a great employee and everything. And my very first day, I was actually on the phone late and I was talking to a gentleman that had lung cancer and he couldn't figure out why his insurance wouldn't cover the one drug that was helping to shrink his tumors. And you have to sit there and explain all that to people, all that insurance stuff. And, I'm on the phone and he's crying on the phone. I'm literally on the phone crying with this guy, trying to explain this insurance crap to him. And I quit the next day.
Yeah.
One day after all that training. This is terrible. I can't do this.
Yeah. I understand. I'm trying to think. I think I did. It's not the same level, but I had gotten a job. I got hired as like a salesperson as like a higher end like department store. I don't remember which one it was, but so they did like a week of. It's the same thing. Like on almost the last day of training, they were like teaching us how to sell, and they were like, "Can customers go get this same shirt at like Walmart for way cheaper?" Yes. And it's the same thing, but they want to buy it from here and they want to pay more money. And I was like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. So I just didn't. I went through training, got paid, and then didn't show up for my first day. I was like, that's dumb. I'm not going to be a part of that.
Oh, that's great.
It's like, I don't want any part in that whole thing. So
I love it. We must have the same, we got the same personality.
Yeah.
Things. So it's like, okay, just after you, I'm not taking your shit.
No.
Oh, that's great. I wish a lot of people need to be more like us because you there's a certain freedom in just being able to say, so many people are just so worried about everything all the time, and you just got to be able to say F it.
Yeah, right.
If this isn't working for me, I'm not going to be a slave to this, ridiculous. I'm not going to be plugged into this phone 2 feet from my bed. I'm home, but I'm not home.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my goodness. No. Well, so we're going to talk again on Thursday, right?
Yes. Or wait, Friday. I think it's
Friday,
right? Yeah.
Make sure I have it written down on the right page.
I hope so.
Oh, it is Friday. Okay, cool.
Okay, good.
So I'm going to be on the Yooman Podcast.
Yeah. I'm very excited about that.
I know, that'll be fun. I have quite a story as well. I think we could probably wrap this up for tonight. Do you think so?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was great.
Yeah, it's been wonderful talking to you. I think it just seems like we've been talking for 5 minutes.
I know. I had a great time. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. So do you want to just email me on Friday and we can do this however how do you do your setup?
It's called Riverside, and it's basically kind of the same as this. You just log in. I'll send you a link Friday morning that you can use whenever it's time, and you just open up. And
that shows on Spotify. I saw that it said Riverside for video podcast or something.
Yeah. So it's you just kind of log in, and it's basically just like a phone call. You can have your camera on, but you don't have to have a camera on, honestly.
Okay.
It's fine.
And I don't mind the camera, but I like podcasting because it's podcasting. I like to, right now I'm in my jammy pants.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. And I do it. I guess it's just because I'm used to being on, I'm on phone calls a lot for my day job. Mm-hmm. So I'm just kind of used to it now. And I like FaceTiming people sometimes, but I'm also I'm literally in my pajamas with a blanket on. I don't dress up or anything either. I just think it's fun to, I don't know, sometimes talk to people. But yeah, I'll send you a link that morning, and we'll go over some of the questions I have, and you can be in the hot seat.
I'll be in the hot seat.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that sounds wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming on Societal Deconstruction Podcast.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I had a blast.
Absolutely. And I'll talk to you on Friday.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Good night. Well, everybody have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for listening to Societal Deconstruction Podcast, SDP. Make sure to rate and follow us everywhere you listen to podcasts, including Spotify. I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next time.